Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Good morning.
Low setting, I won't be able to swipe on the top and I couldn't get it to do anything. But with that medium setting, I think there might be some accidental swipes with that, so you might want to put on the far lowest one. I don't know. I like it. The cool thing about it is because that's the sensitivity. I'm going to also press down, lights up. Bars on the side. The bars on the side are the game. Let's do it. Game. Just the lights right. So it's really cool. It's like a nice little that medium setting. I think there might be some accidental swipes with that, so you might want to put on the far lowest one. I don't know. I like it. The cool thing about it is because you know with most mics you either pressing the that or tapping on the microphone back in your conversation or your game. This, there's nothing. Just swipe it. No one ever knows what's going on. I really like that. Other thing is we pick up listen on the regular one right here. Then we have the multi where it's forward and back, so we got like an interview, and then you have the front plus, which I guess is going to increase. That's oh yeah, so we just increased quite a bit right there. We'll see what that sound. As you see, the colors change. We got blue. Over here we have like the yellowish green. And on front and back you have purple. It's also plenty of notifications and very easy to switch. The other neat thing, you see right here it says live. As far as the color, and then also it's letting you know, hey, you're live, or hey, and then like I showed you earlier, we do have that RGB button on the back right there. It's just to control the brightness, so you can turn it off if you want. I think increasing a couple increments right there. As far as changing the RGB colors, I can't figure that out. I got AMO, I got neon loaded up and everything, and I just can't get it to change the colors. I don't know if that's something they're going to work on, because me personally,
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning. You're the first one here. Is my mic working? Thank you. We have about a minute to go here before the 6 a.m. open. Luck to everybody. Hope we get something today. It is Friday. I call Fridays sell-off day, so be careful. Go. This is TUP. Had a good run up yesterday and in pre-market last night. Don't know where it's headed this morning though. Guess we'll find out. Good morning, Bob. We're watching TUP here, see if it's going to make any moves. Well, actually, nothing so far. Looks like a bunch of orders just activating from the overnight purchases or this morning's open. This is Friday. I call Friday sell-off day. Everybody takes profit, going back to cash before the weekend. I think I've seen a good Friday in quite some time. It actually hasn't been too good of a week, in my opinion. TUP's at the top of the list, but seems to be not doing anything. That was a great pre-market move, though, from $3.68 all the way to $7.25. Looking for a continuation. Good morning, Parabolic. Penny stock on the move, seems to be pulling back. Yeah, let me turn it on. I forgot to push that button. Discord should be live. Looks like the L may be making a move here. See buyers and sellers on both sides. Could be a battle. It looks like the sellers may win. Keep an eye on it. DUP popping back up every now and then. Let's see what we're going with here. If I can catch it. Had a good strong run in pre-market. May want to watch this one. I can go up here and retest this high in pre-market. We keep seeing top pop up here back to the top and back to the bottom and back to the top. That's usually a sign it's going to take off. I think it's been more of a penny stock week than anything else in the early mornings. Good morning, Jay. Nice jump up there for you penny stock players on MF. Another nice jump. Seeing any sellers on the seller side on the ThinkorSwim ladder. Now they're starting to come in. Looks like we might get another run up here. Could be a retest of the high. This is what it looks like on the 133 tick chart. Back to the 5-minute chart. It's finding a lot of resistance up there at the high. This is AHI making a move. It's the 1-minute chart. Might be easier to make a play on it. That was a 40-cent jump right there. Be right back. Right, had to grab a little bit more coffee. Another penny stock, popping up a little bit and pulling back. Had to do a little organizing in Discord last night. I was chasing channels to see if anybody had questions and created a couple more rooms so we can keep everything in the right place. Should make it a little bit easier. Just getting asked questions on a link somebody else posted for the script that they're using and blindsided not knowing how to answer, and then I figured out it was a user's script he had shared. Keep working on it, get everything organized so you know right where to go. We picked up another 30 subscribers from this time yesterday till this time this morning, maybe a little bit more by now. Seem to be getting 3 to 4, maybe 5 an hour. Yeah, steady is good. To be honest, I didn't think 10 people would join this channel when I first started it. Nah, you can just keep going. Since Google owns YouTube, I mean, how much space do they have? Probably unlimited. think Amazon's having a bit of problems. About a mile or two from me, they built a big Amazon warehouse. I'm pretty sure they spent $1 billion on it because it's huge, and decided not to put any product in it. It's sitting there dormant. And it looks like we're back to quiet mode. TUP never got off the launch pad. Been a pretty easy channel to run. The only thing that's cost me a few dollars was a microphone and Discord. You get into Discord and you think it's free until you get your system up and running. But then the functions you need, you have to pay for. Not very expensive though. Parabolic, I'm kind of interested to see what that gap and run's going to do with that setting you changed. We may have a lot more to choose from than we realize. Did you see I did the reversal of that script for the people who like to short? You didn't get it. I put it over into the toss scans. Great. Were they all red? Should have been a list of all the decliners. Right. RexCon ought to like that one. Yeah, even if you don't have that script, it ain't hard to find one that's falling. But I think it'll work fine in a bull market as well. We have the gap and run it out of the red area and telling us they're green. Yeah, Tuck may have some possibilities today. You'll have to keep an eye on it. This morning, right here, and then it pulled back and lost it. MF looks like it wants to go, but just can't get there. Good morning, Nate. Look like a bunch of stocks this morning that don't know which direction they want to head. It's a pretty strong pullback. Don't know if I'd want to get in that one. You must be looking at the double bottom on the tick chart. Are you talking about the volume bars that come with TOS, the blue bars? Shoot me a picture over in Discord so I can see what you're talking about. I'm kind of lost. You can put it over in the large cap. Parabolic, post me a picture of what yours looks like. Active, I'll look into it in a little bit. Parabolic, go to the gear icon over by the buy and sell buttons and select equities. And is your show volume subgraph unchecked? So is that volume bars, are they in the same square as the volume label? It's a lower study. Parabolic, you may have the wrong volume label script installed. Try the one over in TOS scripts. Active, about your question on the volume. The tick chart is order based and not volume based. So the volume bar is not going to work so well over in the tick charts. I'll try to write a script for orders and see if we can pick up on the orders. But if you look at that little counter down there by the price in the right corner. That's the count of the orders going through. So once it gets to 133, it'll reset back to 0 and you'll get a new candle. So right now there's no way for me to pick up the orders. I'll have to write a script for it. You have to remember tick charts are order based and they don't function off of volume. It's the amount of orders going through. Order can be any size. You're welcome. I do have two scripts. One of them includes the volume bars and one of them doesn't. Parabolic, if you look over at the stream, you can also pull this bar up and down right here and squish it down to the bottom. Not me either. I'm watching crossovers and arrows. Good morning, Greg. Yeah, people thought I was nuts when I took off my volume bars and started trading. How are you doing that? Well, this label's a little bit more detailed. Yeah, less is more. That's how I look at it. The less distractions you got, the more you can concentrate on the price. I really enjoy this setup here with hardly anything on it, a couple moving averages and a couple arrows. Really don't need that 5 and 15 thing over there. It helps some people, but I never even look at it. The thing I care about is the spread and the volume spike that pops up, and buyers and sellers down here. So if you're new here, what we're watching for is I created this volume spike that's going to tell you, and they also display bullish or bearish. This percentage takes off. The stock is rising if it's green or falling if it's red. Also, the creator of the pullback setup. You're looking at the 8 moving average and the 21 moving average. And once we have a good volume spike, once we have a crossover of the moving average and the price breaks above the 8 moving average and we have a volume spike, you'll see a green arrow. And this script is actually working along with the volume spike indicator. It's monitoring several, I guess you're going to say, 4 verifications that, hey, this stock is headed in the right direction before it posts that green arrow. Not always a guaranteed win, but your odds are much greater if you keep watching it and learn how it operates. So when we have a volume spike, you'll see an alert pop up. Right now, the alert is bearish. These sellers down here in the volume bar. If it were a green candle, current candle, this would be, and they were buying, you would see buyers pop in over here with the green. It's an easy way to monitor any stock. You create the pre-market scan that's in the videos on the YouTube channel. You install this VSpike script into the watch list, and you create another scan with basic setup. It only has the price you want to trade and the volume you'd like to see in a stock, and you sort it by volume, or you can sort it by the VSpike. So if you only have the price range you want to trade and the volume, it's going to monitor the entire market. So if you have a display and you only show 50 stocks on your screen, it's still monitoring the entire list. Even if it's out of your sight, if it's moving, it's going to pop up here to the top of the chart. See these numbers growing? That's the time to check it out. Always monitor the red ones as well. It could be just a slight pullback and may give you an earlier entry price. Have a lot of videos on the channel. I highly encourage you this weekend to sit down and watch them. You can learn a lot about trading, how simple it can be, and how profitable it can be. Thank you for joining us this morning. Let's try to make some money. Let me grab the channel link for you. I'll post it over in the chat window. That's the link to the YouTube channel. If anybody has any questions, I'm always here to answer them. If you're on the Discord channel, I created a support channel. You can also post them there. Let me get you the Discord link. That should take you over to the Discord channel. Looks like everything turned red except for Neo or green ones, but they're not. This number's not advancing, so you can check them just to see if. Just check all the bearish ones, see if there's any pullbacks. See anything interesting? You can scroll through these stocks a lot faster if you just click on one of them and use the arrows on your keyboard. You have to watch though, because sometimes a new stock will jump in and you'll click right over it too and skip it. Looks like a typical Friday. Been pretty rough this week. Everything red in pre-market except for one or two. If you've never used this system, this pre-market scan, there's a video about it on the channel. Also, the all stock scan is monitoring all and simpler than the pre-market scan. Then you install this indicator right here, and there's a video on it on the channel. Sort it just by clicking on the name V-Spike. Everything is free. We don't ask for any money. I don't ever plan on asking for any money. Money's not the focus of this channel. It's all about education. What's good about this system is the stocks actually come to you. You don't have to go out searching for them. You just set up these two basic scans and sort by V-Spike. If anything in that scan is moving, it's going to be up here. It's going to pop up right for you to see it instantly. Said it earlier, we were watching this resistance down here, and deep in the back of my mind I was thinking if this stock breaks $1, it's probably going to take off. Go with that gut feeling. Of course, this is below my price range, but for you penny stock players, that's the kind of moves you like to see. If you look over at the indicator, you can see it gave an early indication here when it broke above the 8. It also had a volume spike notifying you to get in, and we went from 89 cents all the way up to $1. Not saying you would have caught all of the run, but once it broke through this resistance line here, you would have had a good shot at 15 cents. So we had early notification of this stock. I wasn't watching it because I'm not a penny stock buyer. I did show it a couple of times. So once you get set up like this, if you're a penny stock player, start monitoring all of your penny stocks. You can do that just by setting the price range in the scan that you build. like we're having these little spurts of energy every 5 or 10 minutes, and then it dies. That penny stock's trying to break that new high. It just retested it. Good job, active. Still looking for that one that's going to put me on my daily goal. Hadn't been too good of a week for me. My best day, I believe, was Wednesday. The day before that, I lost $33. I think Thursday I gained 50. Wednesday about 1,200. Yesterday nothing. Hopefully something today. Just so everyone's aware, you're not going to win every trade. Just cut your losses short and try the next one. If you've never used this system before, I highly suggest you just monitor it during market hours. Once you get set up and start clicking on stocks, when you see them turn green and when you see spikes, it works. Once you load this pullback script, you can go into the edit studies. Don't know if I can get to it from there. I think I can unless I make the screen bigger. But you can go into edit studies and there's a little tablet on the left side of the script you loaded. Within that script, I broke down all of the details of the functions of that script. Active, you see how that works? You get in and get out and the stock goes up. Really worry about that as long as I get my piece in the middle. But I've always said if you want to make money, wait till I get out. That is correct. That's why I say just get your piece in the middle and don't look back. And once you see it rising again, you feel like you're chasing it. You're afraid it's going to do that big red candle on you, so you don't get back in. These green arrows keep popping in. They pop in and these moving averages cross over. There's a good chance that it's going to shoot up again, especially if these two moving averages are pointing north. Yeah, we had an early notification on AHI. It popped in earlier this morning. I need to do that 10 trade test again. Just buy the green arrow on the first green arrow with a minimal share purchase of probably 10 on 10 different stocks and see how that's going to be a good rating or not unless I do it several times. I think this is, if you're going to be a scalper or day trader, I think this is the best system to use for scalping dollars. Saves you a lot of time. You're not searching for stocks. It's giving you an indication the volume's rising. It's giving you green arrows, the moving average crossover, the volume spikes up here. The buyers outnumber the sellers down here. You have a lot of verification going on within the script. Now it's up to you to trust the script and learn it. It'll actually take a lot of stress off your mind once you're familiar with what's going on. You learn to trust the script and not get out too early and continue the rise. Or if you hit your if you hit your profit target, then just get out and don't worry about what happens later. That is correct, Parabolic. That's the importance of learning what's going on. I always say click the red ones as well. They could be minor pullbacks. Really, that's what you want, is you want a stock that took off, then it pulls back a little bit from the minimal profit takers and then shoots up even higher. Hey, I can't believe I used to do all this in my head. I was watching for volume increases on the volume bars and how tall the candle was and hoping a moving average would cross. Basically, my brain and an indicator. Yes, sir. Now, on top of all of that, you had to search for the stock. You got very few chances. You spent more time looking for a stock than you did playing them. I think everybody's going to love it once they figure it out. It's not really hard to learn. It may be for a beginner, but I think that beginner can become very educated in a short time. If you're an Amazon player, it's making a move. Looks good on the tick charts because they are Fibonacci numbers. I know Fubo is nice and strong. Keeps hitting new highs. Verifying the volume spiking and the indicators turning north and the buyers outnumbering the sellers. I think you're going to avoid that big red candle that flushes you out. Indicators telling you everything's going up. But there's always that chance that guy that's been sitting on the stock for 6 months in the hole, he wakes up one morning and sees he's in profit and he's going to drop a load on you. That's about the only thing you have to worry about, unless you just make a wrong decision. This is the one that was brought to our attention in the scanner right here at this area. We're waiting on it. We watched the retest of the high. This was used to be a high. It broke through that high and took off, and so the arrows came back in and it shot up again. So concentrate once you see a stock taking off, wait on that slight pullback. If the green arrows keep coming in and these two moving averages are pointing north, there's a very strong chance that stock's going to continue. Like here, I would not chase this stock. I would wait on the next pullback and see if we get another run up. It's probably too late, but that's how you work this, is you wait on your pullbacks, wait on your green arrows, another pullback, more green arrows. You can choose to either stay in at this point here, or what I like to do, if I'm in profit high enough and I'm not afraid of a little loss, I'll actually wait till this red candle breaks below the 8 before I decide to get out. Most of the time it doesn't pull back that far and it takes off again. Figure out what time frame works best for you. You may want to trade the 1-minute chart. I find that the 5-minute chart smooths it out a lot better than the 1-minute chart. You still get the same pullback. You still see the price, which is bouncing up and down at the top of the candle. To me, 5 minutes just as good as 1 minute, as long as you're watching where the price is. You are very welcome. I'm glad I could help. Very good feeling when you know you've turned hundreds of investors' lives around when it comes to trading. I never knew I would have this effect, so it's a real blessing for me. Yeah, I would be careful though. It's already up at 179% change. That market opens as high as this stock is, there's probably going to be thousands of shares sold. They even start selling off at 8 o'clock before market opens. Right now, I'm kind of fighting the battle. Am I talking enough? Am I keeping the viewers entertained? Is it boring? A lot of stuff goes through your mind when you're on my end. I've never been a guy that has a lot to say. I mean, I can talk forever if it's on a subject that I like. If it's just something off the wall, I don't have much to say about anything. So just remember, these live streams are just as new to me as this trading system is to you. We'll all grow together and make this work. Main thing is, even if you didn't trade for a whole day, is just to set this up. Even if you didn't trade for a whole week, you're going to make it up in the long run. Just set this system up, and when trading hours are active, just sit here and click the ones you think may be the ones you need, and you eventually learn. And you can't get a prettier chart than MF right here. Little choppiness here, but nobody was in it. We were watching for it to break this high, and it did and took off. Since I'm not a penny stock player, I probably clicked off on it. But if you have this set up on your system, trade off of your system. I'm only here to give an education, and I'm pointing out what I see. But if you're going to be an active trader, definitely learn it and trade off of your own system. Lose money doing this? Yes, you can. I don't control the market. I can only give you the best opportunities. Money, they're on the YouTube channel. All of the scripts are the first comment below the video. You may have to click read more to see the script. And I usually have install instructions within the video. Here's the link to the channel if you don't have it. Please subscribe, like the videos, and click the bell icon, and you'll get notified every time I put out a new video. I am, but I didn't need to. I was running this on a 15-inch Dell laptop. I was still able to stream to 4 different monitors, actually 5 if you counted the laptop screen. The only issue you're going to have is you may overheat the adapters. Just keep your hand on them. The way to overcome that is not buy a new computer, but buy a hub and feed the data from your laptop to the hub and plug all the monitors into that hub. What you're doing there is the feed coming from your computer to the hub, there's a transformer in the hub, and it increases the power you need to run the 4 monitors without straining the computer itself. But it can be done on a smaller computer. Thank you, Jay. But back to your question, am I running a high-speed CPU? Yes, I'm running a Dell 17-inch, top of the line. Amazon might make a run for it today. Looks like it's in a squeeze. Just like that, it takes off. See, I would have had no idea about Amazon, but it's up here on my chart. I saw a little flash of green, so I clicked on it. It's the results I get. You just have to watch this board, watch this list of stocks, and you'll find the high flyers. In pre-market, I like to keep the spike level very low because I want to know when it first moves. You can see here, I've got it down to 20. I was running 0, but I just had too much noise up here, so I added 20. Yesterday I ran 50. It all depends on your preference. You may even want to run 100 number here. And what these numbers mean is if it was 100, it would be no stocks would show up unless this spike number was above 1%. So 100 equals 1%, 200 equals 2%. I'm at 20, so I'm less than 1/4% because I want to know exactly when that stock takes off. Market opens, I put this back at 100 and I just leave it there the rest of the day. So if I had that number set to 0, I may have caught this stock about this level. But since I have it set to 20, I might have, if we probably could have clicked on it about here. The issue with pre-market is you always feel like you're late because a stock could be dormant, but then all of a sudden a big order comes in and it spikes up because it had no volume. When it had no previous volume and the volume starts, it's going to spike. But this doesn't mean the run. We have green arrows. We have the crossover. Look at these two indicators are pointing north. The moving averages. We have a percent. Thank you, Greg. This is the pullback I mentioned. You want to wait and starts rising again. If it does, I would wait till it breaks that high. It's not a high, but the high of that candle. So if it pulls back and it breaks the high of that candle, there's a good chance it's going to continue up. On a 1 minute chart, you look back here though, we have well, I don't even see a high on it. So it hasn't made a new high yet this morning. There's a nice pullback. Let's see if it turns around and goes back up to retest the high. If it can't break this high, it's probably going to pull back down. No, I just click the buttons. I have the buy the ask, sell the bid, and join the ask, and the flatten button and the cancel button. If I'm adding to a position as it goes up, I don't want to have to reach down there and adjust my share amount purchase. So if you put the flatten now button up there, when you click it, you can get out of all of the shares that you're holding in one click. Greg, it's good. It's more or less a trend indicator. I'm not going to say I don't use it anymore. It's just that I didn't find it as useful. It's just another addition that I used for quite some time. Well, actually, it's only been out about a year. I don't know if y'all know that or not. I talked to Ken Rose at TD Ameritrade about it, and he says he couldn't give me the script to it. I wanted to include the script to it in this indicator as a trend finder, but he told me it was proprietary. But he said, I can tell you it does work off of stochastics. So I imagine if I put a stochastics indicator overlapping it in ThinkorSwim, I could find out what it's doing. But I really don't think I need to do all that work. I think we're fine just like this without it. Really, all we need is these moving averages, these arrows, and these volume spikes, and the buyers and the sellers. This one over here is finding in. But the market forecast is a good tool if you just want to glance down at it and see, hey, are we headed up or down? When I first loaded that tool and saw all of those lines, I immediately uninstalled it. Later on, I brought it back on the computer and went into settings and unchecked every line except for the intermediate. Discovered that the intermediate line was the trend within that indicator. And that's all I really needed. Uh, Man, that's a hard question there. I just started opening up other people's creations and started reading code and deciphering what the code meant. It took years to get to what I know. It wasn't something that you can just say, hey, I'm going to learn coding. Have the ThinkorSwim code book, which is huge. Every now and then I refer to it if I can't figure out the script I'm trying to write. It's a very difficult thing to learn. Now that I know it, though, it was very beneficial for me to learn it. Subtracting, adding, dividing, greater thans, less thans, if, ors, then. There's logic included in it as well. Just past the 8 o'clock hour, things are going to start selling off. This is Friday. If investors are in the money in pre-market, they don't want to hold their earnings into the open in fear of it selling off. So around 8 o'clock every morning, the stocks start pulling back, except for the strong ones. Fubo's still playing with that high. So if you find a stock you're interested in, I like to hit this minus button right here, zoom out quite a bit and look at the big picture and see if that stock is actually up or down. You can't really tell on the size of this chart, but when I zoom out, I can see that this stock has been going up for quite some time, and it pulled back and it started going up about 7 o'clock in the morning. But when I zoom back in, I don't know the history before this run, and it's very important to know this section as well. Even though it's past, it's giving you an idea of what's happening within that stock. If I'm looking at it this way, I don't know if this stock was way up there at the top and it crashed and this is just a bounce off the bottom. You can't tell that if you don't zoom out. I don't join the bid. It was join the ask. And when it's join the ask is actually a sell. So if you're in the middle of a run up and you think it has higher potential, you join the ask so that you can sell your shares at whatever the ask price is, and you get a little bit more money when you sell that way. If you just want to get out, you click sell the bid and you're out. If you click join the ask, you might wait a few minutes before somebody actually makes a purchase at the ask price, but you earn a little bit more. So it's buy the ask, sell the bid, or join the ask. Looks like QBTS pulled way back. Fubo is holding this level, which is a good sign. If it continues to hold this level, I'll probably put it on a private watch list and keep an eye on it at market open. You set up your own personal watch list because it may disappear off of this screen. So you put all the highest gainers that you find in pre-market into a watch list and you watch them at open. You would just change your watch list here. You watch the top gainers in pre-market and you watch this V spike, see which ones are pulling back and which ones are gaining. If you look at TUP on the 5-minute chart, you'll see it's bouncing off of this support. It's retested the support 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. If we go into the open and it keeps testing this support, it may shoot up. If you zoom out, you can see it's down, but it's not actually down. It's just a pullback. If you are new to this stream, I'm Ricky Gaspard, and I've created a couple of indicators that actually work off of live data. What you see over here on the left is a volume spike indicator that I created, and it immediately notifies you if a stock is going up or down. I created the pullback indicator that notifies you whenever there's a pullback. It'll notify you with a green arrow. You have to really watch what's going on. If you can see back here, the stock was flat. The indicators crossed. This is the 8 and the 21. We had a volume spike occurred, and you're notified of that volume spike up here. Once the price breaks the 8 moving average, the arrow, and we get a volume spike, it'll flag it with an arrow. That would be a potential entry, and you ride it up, and as long as you're getting green arrows, it'll continue to rise in most cases. Get your piece somewhere here in the middle. Don't worry about trying to nail the exact bottoms or the exact tops. Just get your piece while the stock is moving. This volume bar keeps track of the buyers and the sellers for you. There's the buyers just popped in. So the buyers are outnumbering the sellers. You can check the current bar's candle volume. If it is less, so the volume is falling off on that stock. If it's more than the last bar, you know there's more people coming in. Have a YouTube channel with all of the instructional video channel. We have a Discord channel, and I'll post a link to that Discord channel. Really simplified scalping and day trading. I've made it easier for those who use this setup to make a better call, judgment call to get in or get out. Working just fine for hundreds of subscribers. Highly encourage you to tune in every morning during the weekday. The stream starts at 6 a.m. I stop trading around 9:30 because the market's been going flat at that time. We get into a good market and we can make money all day long. I will stay in the stream until we finish making money. But as of now, the market's not cooperating, so I call it quits at 9:30 every morning. course, thank you for joining us this morning. If you have any questions, just type them in the chat. We're on the Discord channel. If you set this up and you're having issues, there's a support channel. In Discord, you can chat with other investors. And once I sign off at 9:30, I turn voice in, and you can actually talk to other investors. There's quite a few of them in there that already know what's going on. They picked up on it pretty quick. So if I'm not available, they'll be happy to answer your questions. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to change these scans. I'm going to move this all stock scan up to here. I'm going to change this to the gap and run scan, which is available on the YouTube channel. This scan may not activate until a couple of minutes after market open. It has quite a bit of calculating to do. I'm going to populate to where you really can't tell what to click on because it's going to have so many spikes in it. So what I do after the market opens is I go up here and I set this volume spike to a higher level. I'll change this number to 100 and then save it. It only lets stocks pop up if there's at least a 1% volume spike. Also going to sort this column by highest volume at market open because we want to watch the top gainers since pre-market opened. So when you sort it by highest volume, it's going to separate these spikes. You won't be chasing them. You'll be able to calmly monitor the top gainers here and if they're spiking or not. Get to click on the red ones. It could be just a slight pullback from market open. So click the red and the green after market open. I highly encourage you to let the market settle down a bit. Let some of these spikes disappear. Or if you're a brave investor, I like to say, and you see a good play, then jump on it. It's your call. But I do not suggest that. It's kind of like a 50-50 shot in the dark. Hey, the market opened, it's going up. I'm getting in. And the next thing you know, it jumps up a little and all the sellers come in. Then it's your best entry is going to be buy the ask and sell the bid. You can also put the button on there, join the ask, and you can sell. It's a red button, and you can sell at the highest possible price. So in pre-market, we sort by V-spike. When the market opens, we sort by volume and increase the number on V-spike. So to you newcomers, everything is free. I'm not charging 1 single cent. This is an educational channel. And it makes me real happy to be able to share my knowledge to everybody. Your comments are very welcome. Comment on the videos. If you have any questions, reach out to me. The best way to get involved with us is to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe and start watching videos. The latest version of this indicator is version 4. There's a video how to set up your system to look like this. That video was launched last Friday or Saturday. Look for that video date. Yeah, it's buy the ask, sell the bid. That's your quickest in and your quickest out. You're buying what they're asking and you're selling what they're bidding. Over by your buttons, your buy and sell buttons, there's a gear icon. You need to select the option that says auto send and put a check mark in the box, and you won't get that other verification of your order at the bottom. It'll just instantly buy and instantly sell as long as you have auto send checked. You're welcome, RK. Just be careful if you're new to scalping. I don't use a stop here. My stop is a mouse click. I don't worry about the stops because the stocks I'm buying, these indicators are telling me they're going up. The high percentage chance that they will. I do lose money as well as make money. The whole goal is to make more than you lose. So you control don't sit there and wait for it to maybe return back, and because 90% of the time it doesn't happen. Just go ahead and accept the loss, keep it minimal, and try the next one. If you're new, I suggest starting on a 5-minute chart. It's not as volatile as a 1 minute. You may even try a 10-minute chart or a 15-minute chart. I don't know which one works for you. Just find one you're comfortable with and stick with it. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here since nothing's happening. That's the gap and run scan, and it appears to be blank, which is correct. I'm going to move the all stocks up here. I'm going to sort my volume to high to low. And at market open, we'll be monitoring these stocks here. I see Fubo's in the list. DUP is in the list. NKLA's in the list. These stocks have been active most of the week. These two here, NKLA and TUP. I think Fubo's kind of new. I don't recall it during the week. Yale was a stock that moved earlier in the week. If you participate every morning, you remember which stocks were moving. You can keep them in a personal watch list. XPEV is in the list. It was a good play earlier this week. I believe that was either a Monday or a Tuesday play. Keep a list in your personal watch list of all of the good ones that you're playing. Just because they're up 1 week doesn't mean the run is over. At market open, as I said, be cautious. You're going to have a lot of activity in this column. Got about 3 minutes to go. Good luck, everybody. Hope you make some money. To all the newcomers, monitor what's going on the screen. Get set up this weekend. Next week, I wouldn't trade. I would just monitor and learn all week. If you don't feel like you got it, then do another week, because you're going to make up all the time you spent not making money. You'll make it up in the long run. You just need to master the indicator, and it's not very hard to do. We can already see some movers coming in. Like everybody's preparing for the battle. So there's no possible way for me to click on the stock that's going to work, and I just have to run down the list myself, check them. I prefer to click on the red ones and watch for the pullbacks, the ones that are selling off at open, and play the bounces back up to the top. Good morning, Wyatt. Thank you for joining us. But you've been here before. I recognize the name. I'll probably go silent at market open. I'm going to try to make some money myself. But whatever I click on, you should be able to see it up here. Here we go. If Fubo breaks this high, that's when I would be interested in it. Very populated at the moment. EO seems to be making a move. This is why I don't click on the green ones. I don't want to chase a stock. It could turn around any moment and the profit takers come in. I'd like to see a small pullback and then another run up that breaks this high. This will all calm down in about 5 or 6 minutes. The strong ones will still be here. Definitely looking like a sell-off Friday. Need to wait for these moving averages to cross over. If this stock takes off, you want them to cross over and you want to see a green arrow come in. You're going to want to see a bullish spike and you're going to want to see the buyers come in. You'll probably feel like I'm leaving money on the table right here, but what you're really doing is saving yourself some money because it may stop right here and turn right around and go back down. We have the gap and run kicked in. Let's check those. I'm watching for spikes in this gap and run. This is a very powerful scan. It's actually searching for stocks that gapped up higher than yesterday and have a good chance of continuing to run. We should be dying down up here in a few minutes. Still waiting for this crossover and a green arrow. Very good possibility it could fill this gap right here. This is what I'm talking about waiting on the moving averages to cross and waiting on a green arrow. Just when you thought you were in the money, you're now negative. Top is the one that was bouncing off the support. It's now broke that through that support. It's not a good play to buy. Fubo has pulled back. Same thing. We need to wait for these to cross over. We need to break this high, and then I would be interested. We have a spike arrow here because it did break the 8 moving average right here. But we don't have a crossover of the indicators. Amazon looks like it may move up today. DUP still struggling. Fubo is still struggling. Not seeing very many spikes here. You can see we've calmed down quite a bit. We're monitoring the top volume stocks. Tesla's on the move up. Yale retested the high of this candle and could not break through. Looks like the volume is dying down. Even in the gap and run, we have no good gap and run runners. Yep, I guess we do. There's one right there. You would have to wait on a pullback. This would be chasing the stock. If it's a strong stock, and it pulls back, if it's strong, it's going to run back up. The pullback's just going to be the profit takers that got in down here. If it's weak, it'll just sell off and drop. But if it's just a pullback, you're almost assured more buyers are going to come in and drive it back up. Yeah, Fridays are always like this. It's almost best to just put a lock on your wallet and not trade. I mean, when we don't have any gap and run scans going, and I've even lowered down the number, I was expecting a huge increase this morning in this watch list, and I didn't get it. So that's really not good news. Parabolic, that gap down scan looks good. You want to find the losers for a short, it's loaded. Looks like we're mostly red. Fubo has lost everything. The play on Fubo was pre-market right here. If you were playing pre-market on your own computer and not paying any attention to me, you would have probably spotted this. You could have made about 30-40 cent run and been done for the day had you buy enough shares. Let's take a look at the SPY and see which way the SPY is heading. Made a slight bump up at market open, seems to be pulling back now. Whenever the SPY is pulling back, the VIX is usually going up. Barely. This is a good, I'm almost thinking it's a fund. But if the SPY is falling all day long, you can pick up 20-30 cents. It's a lot slower movement, but you can pick up 20 or 30 cents if you have absolutely no play and the SPY continues to fall. Lazan made a reversal. DUP never recovered. Fubo has lost all its gains. Apple is down. Neo is down. This is how you spell Friday, right here. But I don't blame everybody. I like to be in all cash every day before the market closes. I don't leave any of my money in here and make it vulnerable for loss. When I'm not trading, I'm all cash. MP seems to be strong, but I wouldn't chance it at this high. You have to wait on them pullbacks or you could get robbed of your money. There's no way to predict that this is the top or is it going up higher. It appears to be strong according to these indicators and these arrows, but I would still feel like I was chasing it. And if I got in with a large volume size and it dropped 20-30 cents, I could be out a lot of money. But sometimes I go beyond my skill level and I'll click on something like this and make a few dollars or lose. You can see that MP is down here in the gap and run list. Not a very strong spike. But just because I don't chase them, you may figure out a way to make money off of them. You may be a risk taker. I'm not. I mean, yeah, I could get in here with 100 shares or 50 shares, but I don't trade with that small of a share size. So my risk is a lot higher than most investors. Nice strength. You can tell this indicator's really working well. Look how due north this 8 and this 21 is pointing. You got an indication here at market open, which I wouldn't have trusted. I would have waited on this one. And you got another indication, hey, it's still going. Another indication, hey, it's still going. So it's set new highs all the way up the ladder. I quit the rest of the day. You never know. You want to jump in at small share size when something like this happens. If it continues to go up, add a little bit more. If it fails, you're not into it heavy and you don't lose a lot of money. So you can ease into them. Me, I guess I'm greedy. I like to pop in with all the shares that I'm going to put in this stock and get out as fast as I can. What the 1 minute chart looks like. See, the stock ran up. It had actually had a pullback right here. Probably should have been watching this stock on a 1 minute and could have entered right here. As long as this price is above this 8 moving average, there's very little chance it's coming down until it breaks through it. We're getting close, guys. I mean, it's almost to the point where I could say, and I wished I could mean it, but I can't, just by the arrows. But don't hold me to that thought. That's a dream. I'm fantasizing now. MP was on the gap and run earlier. It seems to have disappeared. If it's not volume spiking, it's not going to be on the list. It's going to disappear. That's why you keep them, once you see them moving over here, you keep them in a personal watch list so you can continue to monitor them. MP still pulling up. We still have no red arrow to get out. This script also posts red arrows. Is that not a confidence builder? So on your own personal computer, you'll be paying more attention to this once you learn it. If you come over here and watch me, you may be distracted like I'm distracted trying to teach you. I miss a lot of plays by holding this stream. Does it affect me? No, not really. I mean, yeah, I lost a few dollars, but right now I'm focused on education. I have my days. I'll jump in heavy, make mine, and I'm done. I'll hardly ever trade on Fridays unless I find a stock this strong here and I felt like I'd have been chasing it. You're welcome, Kate. So use this stream as a learning channel. When you go to trade, I suggest being 100% focused on your own computer. This stream is also about 5 or 6 seconds delayed, so you can't base your entry over here. A lot can happen in 5 or 6 seconds. That candle could be this far down. You can see nothing's down in the list. If something were to pop up, you would see it. Now that the market's calmed down, I can pretty much click my spike indicator and bring everything up to the top, so I'm not having to look down the list. So if anything spikes at this moment, it'll be up here at the top of the list since all the volatility has calmed down. SWN has had a crossover here through a green arrow, another green arrow. Let's see where it goes, if it continues or if it fails. I'm seeing a slight bend in this 8 moving average. That's a sign of weakness. It's not just going straight up. There's a red arrow that says, hey, it's time to get out. You can see the script is really thinking for you. It's watching for things like this to bend over. It's watching for the volume. It's watching for the spikes. It's your brain on your screen. Takes a lot of stress out of day trading. Once you get familiar with this indicator and this volume spike indicator, you have a great chance of being a professional scalper and day trader. I don't play any stocks that are just choppy. You can see now nothing, no spikes on the entire screen. And it's longer than what I'm showing you here. This is just because you show display a certain number, it's still watching the entire market. If you were to try to display too many stocks, you're probably going to overwhelm your computer. But it's not necessary to do that. If they're moving, they're going to work their way up from the bottom and come up here for you to see them. Very volatile on this stock. Still didn't break that barrier. DraftKings was in the news yesterday, and that shows you how important news is. Can't follow what anybody else tells you. They were touting it as good. That's the results of the news. It's all about reality. Right here is the real deal. No spikes in the gap and run. Not surprising for Friday. If you love shorting stocks, Friday is your day. What I'm clicking on here is the reverse. This is a gap and run. This one is programmed to find the stocks that gap up at open and continue to run. like that. And then I reverse this script to look for shorts. And this is currently the short scan. Everything is heading down. So if you love shorting, so this one gapped up at open. It pulled back. Weak volume. It rose. There was no spikes here. I would not have bought this stock just because there was no arrows. Same thing with this one. Wasn't strong enough to create a spike. Slowly made its way up. Hesitant along the way. But it's a gap and run stock. We opened here and look where it is. It's up here. But I like them to have spikes going on and arrows, and I'm not seeing that this morning. The volumes are too low. These stocks are still under 700,000 shares traded since open. Not very strong. So once you get set up, you have everything in front of you right here, right on your own PC. Not like you have to come listen to me every morning. Once you learn, of course, I appreciate you showing up, but once you learn, you'll be independent. Hopefully, very happy with what you came to learn. Can't get an indication faster than this right here, even if you subscribe to a live scanner. I've compared this to other subscription services, and this is much quicker notification than a subscription service. Down, 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 down. And to think the day is about done, unless something just out of the blue happens. We had a few good movers this morning. Most of them penny stocks. Some of them in the $3 to $5 range. Jay, I would rather give it away. Through my years, I had people help me and they didn't charge me. I'm a Christian at heart, and I feel that the more I give, the more I receive. And I know in the long run, if I monetize this channel, we'll let YouTube pay for your education. Yeah, Kay, even the whole summertime for me, it's not as good as when the kids get back in school and they all get back from vacation and they need to earn some money back and the volume starts picking up. My favorite time of the year is when school, about a couple of weeks after school starts. I do appreciate the comments. It makes me feel good. Oh, the gap down scanner is on fire. Some of them down 45%, 25%, 15%. Do you love shorting stocks? That scanner is over on the Discord channel. I'll also put it on YouTube over the weekend. Of course, on YouTube, I have to make a video about it to get it up there. You can see this script work in the reverse. You can see the white came down below the blue. So the 8 went below the 21, started getting red arrows, and you could have shorted it all the way down to here. So you can make money in both directions. To get your account built high enough, you can ride it up and stay in the same stock and ride it all the way back down and double your profits in most cases. And KLA could be at a bottom, but we don't really know. We need a crossover here and some green arrows and some volume spikes and some green arrows. Check on Fubo while it's in the list. Yep, look like Fubo's done. So what I'm doing here is I'm watching for a crossover of the lines. I'm watching for that spike indicator to pop up. It's not showing right now. I'm watching the buyer level here, if it'll stay still. The buyers come back in. I'm hoping we get a crossover and a stack of green arrows and even a good chance it could recover all the way to there. You have a little bit of resistance probably at this level. It's looking very weak. The buyers and the seller side are in high volume. There's 13,000, 51,000 being sold, 47,000, a 40,000 buyer. This is why we waited and see if we was going to get a crossover. It was not a good entry yet. Look down at the ladder column. On the red column is high volume sales, and the green column is pretty much doing the same thing. $48,000, $22,000. Probably not going to go anywhere. It's like the shorts got in it up here and they're not ready for it to be over. I can tell you just by looking at this was probably a halt. The stock opened up, shot up, and halted again. This is what I call danger. If you're still in your trade at this point, it could open down here somewhere. It halted is what happened. So if a stock, I use a 10% factor. If within one candle this stock rises more than 10% of its price, it may trigger a halt. But sometimes I've never figured this out. Some of them don't halt. It's kind of like, okay, let's let this one run, but let's stop that one. So it traded more than 10% of its price and it halted. When it resumed, it took off again and it exceeded 10% of its price and it halted. The problem is the orders are still going through, but it's not moving. So even though it halted here, it doesn't mean in the background they're not processing thousands of sell orders, and it could reopen down here somewhere and you're out this much money. So whenever you get into a stock, see whatever 10% is and make sure you're out before that is reached. I've been caught in halts before to the tune of a $1,500 loss in a matter of a second. It's being up that much when it halted. Lost all the gains before I could get out. It was my own ignorance for not figuring up the halt factor of 10%. I've also been caught in halts where it just kept going up and up and up. I'm out. And you see it go up and you hang on. It's a mind game. You soon learn your lesson. As soon as it resumes, get the hell out. And who cares what's happening next? I'm into the money already. good, but look how low this volume is. Total volume since market open, 4 million. Very pricey stock. You see that alert pop up here of a volume spike. It's only the current candle. It's not overall. This spike up here only measures that single candle's volume. This one down here is overall volume. So overall, there's 83% sellers. So it's good to know the volume in this one candle is spiking. And the next one, if it's spiking, and the next one, it's bearish. Here's the label I was talking about. It's 1% bearish, and you can see the red. 1% is not very much. It's not a strong sell-off. MF is still in a halt. And I don't know how long the halt lasts. I've seen them last 5 minutes. I've seen them last 4 hours. It all depends on the volatility. On which list? Parabolic, the gap and run. I believe I have my numbers set to the numbers you mentioned yesterday. Let me check. 99.86. Price range, that makes the difference. My price range is $1 to $50. My volume is 500,000. Yeah, I could have refreshed before you. That's the thing I hate about ThinkorSwim is the scans only refresh about every 5 minutes. But I'm still making money, so I'm not going to complain. See, if you weren't talking like me and you were monitoring this gap and run scan on your system, you would have saw this was coming up. Probably could have got in somewhere right here. These indicators are turning north. Yeah, that'll definitely do it if you raise the volume. But that's probably for the better. I probably should put it on 1 million and eliminate all these non-movers. But the higher the volume, if it's trading at a lower volume, you may lose a lot of money. You're welcome, Bob. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the education this morning. It's getting close to 9:30. I'm going to end the stream in a few minutes. Anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. We'll see you again on Monday morning. Review the videos on the website, on the YouTube channel. Get yourself set up like this for Monday morning. Some of you can use the on-demand feature in ThinkorSwim. You can play with this setup in ThinkorSwim on demand. Some of you can't. But if you're going to use the on-demand feature, create a basic all-stock scan with just the price and the volume. No other filters. Make sure you have this V-spike set up in your watch list. It does not work in on-demand, but this indicator will work in on-demand. So you can practice an on-demand with this indicator, but you're not going to get any spikes and you're not going to get any notifications. Hope to see you again on Monday. You know anybody using ThinkorSwim and feel like you need to bring them over, I appreciate it. Have a blessed weekend and goodbye.